Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Rylan Cotter, age 20, who died on January 8th of 2008. She was found on a golf course, the Brassie golf course in Chesterton, Indiana. She appeared to have jumped off of a utility tower that was right next to her, and there were still some questions about whether she could have done that or not, but they eventually ruled that she would have been physically capable of doing so. Now, that's not the only thing that they found. They found that she also had a non-lethal dose of sleeping pills in her system. And she had checked into a motel nearby the day before. The place was called the Benton Harbor Motel. She checked in early on January 7th and checked out late in the morning the next day. A college roommate was quoted as saying that she was going through something, although I couldn't find out what they thought that something was, but that they didn't think that she was suicidal. And that is pretty much all I have on this entire case. So a 20-something jumped off, or appears to have jumped off of a tower at a golf course in a location where she had no ties to anybody, and nobody really knows why. And that is why we are currently looking at this case, because it's of course a big mystery how she ended up there, whether she jumped or not. I do believe that the police report said that the mud splatter on her clothing did support the idea that she did indeed jump off that tower. What that looked like, I don't know, but according to them, that's what it looked like, and according to them as well, the case is closed. But of course, since it's such a strange death and nobody really thought she was suicidal, it's still a mystery how she ended up there and why. So, I've been asked to do a reading on that, and we've got the Santa Muerte deck on the table right now. We're going to start off with that one, and for any further questions, we're moving on to the Modern Witch Tarot, which is this one, also a all-time favorites. As per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the cards, and as soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we've got quite a few cards here. They came out pretty quick, so it wasn't a very long shuffle. They came out in bunches, as a matter of fact. The first three cards over here are the Magician in reverse, the Six of Pentacles upright, and the Star in reverse. I'm going to grab all three. So this is actually kind of interesting, because the Six of Pentacles is normally a charity card, like somebody giving charity, maybe somebody leaving them something. A Six of Pentacles normally like somebody handing out money or resources or something along those lines. But we see here the Star in reverse and the Magician in reverse. Now these two seem to suggest that they are incapable of doing something, or they found themselves incapable of doing something, and I think they also felt like they were losing face in a public eye. It almost seems as though. I'm not really sure. Maybe she needed to take out a loan or something along those lines, or something like that seems to have happened. At least according to these cards, it seems like she was unable to take care of something herself, felt really bad about it, and was given some type of help which she apparently didn't feel like she needed, or that she shouldn't have to have accepted that, because you can see here that we have the Four of Pentacles. Now the Four of Pentacles shows what looks like a bride lowering, I think, her groom to the bank. I'm going to grab all three cards, hang on. So like I said, looks like a bride lowering somebody to the bank, either a robber or because he's supposed to go and empty his account for her or something along those lines. So I feel like this may mean that she felt indebted, because you do see here the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So that's kind of like her feeling like she's lost everything, or that she's never going to be able to recover from that, because it is a bankruptcy type card. In the middle of that we have the Nine of Cups, which is normally feeling good about yourself, but in this case it's in reverse, so feeling pretty bad about that. This entire first row seems to suggest that she lost some type of independence or agency because somebody else gave her something that she didn't really want to accept, but accepted anyway, perhaps. I don't know. It seems as though she may have been kind of forced into it because of this really overpowering person going to the bank with this other person, literally lording over them. May even be a dollhouse or something. Well, they may have felt like they were being put in their place, because over here on the second row we also have the Six of Cups, which is normally like a melancholy card, something from the past maybe coming up. Maybe this is somebody that she didn't want to be indebted to, regardless of whatever the situation may be, but she found herself in a position where she couldn't refuse. I don't know. So far it seems like she was very unhappy with the situation that she was in, and she did not want to accept the help that was offered. On the second row we also have the Hermit in reverse, we have the Page of Swords, and like I said, the Six of Cups. So this is, like I said, the reminder of something that happened in the past. The Hermit in reverse is like not wanting to seek internal guidance, not really wanting to look for wisdom or take a moment to meditate on the situation, just kind of staying in the moment, because we also have here the Page of Swords, whom in this case is writing a letter. It looks as though pages are often the very adolescent energy, like I've said many times in these readings, and swords one tends to speak before their turn, may also have some very racing thoughts or something along those lines. So maybe that reminder from the past made them think all sorts of things that they did not really investigate too deeply because of the Hermit being in reverse. So all sorts of thoughts may have popped up, all sorts of things they may have said to people that were not very well thought out. Looks as though something to do with something she's either experienced before or with somebody whom is from her past. She also spent a lot of time, I want to say navel gazing, but this is the Five of Cups right here, which is normally crying over spilled milk. And as you can see, it's a very melancholic card as well, because this skeleton is just staring down into the pool, into the depths, and you can see inside her skull there's a whole maze. This will be representing thoughts running around and potentially not finding a way out. Let's grab all these three as well. So this is very reminiscent of somebody getting stuck in their own mind, along with the Page of Swords right there, which was also not investigating anything that came up, just kind of wrote everything down that came to mind as well. We have the King of Swords as well in reverse, who is even better at that, also very good at manipulation. Could also be self-manipulation, because we also have here the Five of Swords in reverse. I tend to read that as an internal struggle. So potentially there are all sorts of thoughts running through her mind that kept her very much occupied, and possibly also kept things to herself, because the Five of Cups, particularly in this case, is very much focused on the self. And just like I said earlier, I wanted to say navel gazing. They kept everything to themselves. They were apparently struggling with a lot of thoughts, it looks as though, and they were not able to find a way out because, of course, the maze in the mind was a bit too strong. No matter what they thought or what they were capable of coming up with in their own mind, it did not lead to any solution. Which reminds me of the quote saying that you can't solve problems when in the same mindset as in which they were created. So I kind of like that type of vibe. Like they're trying to work through something. They apparently were in some situation where they need to accept some help that they did not want, or at least made them feel like they were now dependent perhaps on somebody who was offering that help. And then they got stuck in this whole internal monologue that would not cease. So currently when you look at her, she's pretty confused maybe, or perhaps very determined, because of course the Hermit is somebody who tends to have a focus on something, even though this might be the incorrect focus because it's in reverse. All this stuff may have led down a certain path that she didn't think she could deviate from, but there's a lot of struggle here. Let's see what else we can find out about that? Like what led her to the golf course? Yep, Nine of Swords. That's anxiety, worrying. Pretty clear right there. Spending quite a lot of time just lying awake, thinking about things. We got 3 other cards in the meantime. Let me just put this one over here. Okay, we have one off screen. This is strength reverse, so she's losing her strength to fight whatever this is that's going on inside her mind, or potentially around her, but I think it's an internal thing. The Fool, yep, there's the one-track mind thing coming up again, because it is the path that her mind is taking her on is not letting her deviate. And then we have the Moon in reverse, which is normally like a secret revealed. So maybe she came across something that she really didn't want to know, that made her extremely worried and anxious, which made her lose her strength and her, what shall we say, the joy of life, because the Fool tends to be very happy-go-lucky and going out there doing things and trusting that the universe is good and is going to guide them. But perhaps this secret revealed here kind of showed the opposite. Maybe perhaps focusing on the darkness in the universe. As you can see there's a shadow coming out of the water behind these 2 people. Perhaps she finally saw that, saw some type of shadow that she hadn't noticed before. Okay. The first one that popped out on the other end was this Knight of Swords, who are still in the sword energy. We also have another King of Swords in reverse, so this one comes up a second time because we already have that one down here. They're both reversed. Knight of Swords, just like the Page of Swords, tends to charge off with whatever thoughts they have, whatever actions or rather words they have, and they will continue down that path because they feel like they're in the right. And we're still working with those negative thoughts, the manipulation, and we have Temperance in reverse right here. Dropped it. Temperance in reverse I always read as being in an imbalanced situation. So like the Hermit being reversed here, she was not able to take a step back and really investigate what she was thinking about or what was coming up in her mind, and just kind of accept that as truth without actually taking a moment to take a step back, take a breather, and investigate whether any of the stuff that was going on was actually as bad as she may have thought it was, or at the very least just to rationalize things. That did not happen, it seems as though. What else can we find out? So far we're in a bit of a maelstrom of thoughts here. It looks as though there's a lot of thought. There's a lot of swords energy. There's a lot of anxiety, imbalances, and not really taking a break from any of this. So this is really a very tumultuous time. And if you make any decisions during those times, they're bound to be very imbalanced indeed, which is what Temperance is probably pointing towards. What else can we see? Okay, so we got the Eight of Swords, which is always like a trap of your own doing. And in this case, it's very much internalized because it's in reverse, and the Eight of Swords is something that you can walk away from unless you really don't want to. So this is something that they once again spun up themselves. We do have the Two of Minds card here with the Two of Swords, so maybe there was a point where she kind of doubted about what she was thinking, but still we have the cloth before the eyes to blind ourselves to what's really going on. So maybe they were like, okay, it's either this or it's either that, but there's no other options. That type of situation. We also have here the Eight of Wands, which is closing down communication, also slowing down. Normally Eight of Wands is speeding up, kind of like the Chariot's energy as well, taking action, but this is more the opposite of action. Also the Eight of Wands is associated with communication, sometimes social media as well, but this looks like communication was off the table. They just kind of slowed down, stopped everything in their tracks. Might also mean hesitation, because we do see it next to the Two of Swords, which could be like trying to weigh options. Should I or shouldn't I? That type of thing. We have Judgment in reverse, so bad judgment all around. really quickly. And then I have two cards here. This one came up first, Ace of Cups and Four of Swords. All right, so this is, Four of Swords in particular is taking a break. Perhaps you felt like you really needed to step out of something, really needed to get out of a stressful situation. Ace of Cups, I feel in this case, is a longing for some new connections with people. Maybe hoping and wishing that that were the case, or maybe wishing things were different. It is upright though, so that's interesting. Like, normally that would be a new relationship, a new connection to somebody. I'm going to put that over here, and I'm going to ask for some clarification to that one, because I'm not really sure what that's doing here, because so far I think we are at the morning of the 8th over here. We're waking up, we are still stressed out and everything. Maybe this is indeed an attempt to find some connection, maybe that could change things for her, maybe change her outlook a little bit. But let's take a look what we can find about this card, this Ace of Cups. What's that all about? So, here we go. Justice. Okay, so maybe somebody suggested a different path to them. They do have the scales here, and they're sitting in front of the veil, so perhaps somebody tried to reach out to her and maybe offer some help or something along those lines. Now, I don't think that this person, whoever may have reached out to them, knew what type of situation she was in, but it may have given her some pause to think about it. So what happened after that? Okay, after that we have 10 of Wands. So this is almost time to release the burden, I think. Because you see that the town is in the background and they've dragged this bundle of sticks for quite a long time. They're ready to let that go. Oops. Okay, the Six of Cups is back, so this might be somebody that is from her past who may have reached out to them, literally giving them an option or some food for thoughts. But we have the Tower in reverse as well. Maybe this is rather almost a final push situation, unexpectedly. This almost looks like somebody that she knew from her past reach out to her, maybe sent a text or something along those lines, or maybe she just thought about them for a second and then had a relief moment. But at the same time, there was that realization perhaps still playing in the background. We also have the Four of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, so this is somebody who may have helped out as well, and we have the Chariots. Okay, so the Chariot is the movement after the fact. So this may have been somebody who is a King of Pentacles in the sense that they are somebody who is normally very good with resources, that may have reached out to them, reminding them that it is really important to keep a balance as well. That's why you might see the Four of Pentacles here, and then the Chariot comes afterwards. This is again the Eight of Wands energy that I was talking about earlier. So after some type of reminder, whether they actually contacted them or not, they came up in their mind, it seems as though. And then we have the Chariot, like now we have action being taken. This will be the late morning of the 8th, I think. And then what? Okay, this one first. So after the Chariot, oops, we've got the Devil. Okay, so the Devil is somebody who has stuff under control. It could be that they perhaps felt like they had no choice in the situation, like they were addicted to something, or something was really plaguing them, their mind, like they felt like something else was in control or someone else was in control. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. That is somebody who is very stubborn. And we also have the Seven of Cups. Now, Seven of Cups is normally like a wishing type of thing, like if only I could do this, if only I could do that. And the Queen of Wands probably figured, you know what, that would have been nice, wishful thinking, but there is no such option because we're in reverse right now. And I think that they felt like they had no choice, even though there was wishful thinking there on the end. They felt like they had no choice but to take their own actions. Maybe they were manipulated by somebody, but I don't really see a clear person in this case. We have the King of Pentacles here. The King of Pentacles is upright. Maybe they had an influence on her that the King of Pentacles was not even aware that they had over her. He is over here with the Ace of Cups, so this might be somebody that they really respected. I feel like she may have been stuck in some type of mindset that nobody really could see coming, because the influences were probably benign, or at least trying to be helpful, but in her mind it got twisted around to something much darker, because you see here the Devil card and then the reverse Queen of Wands taking action, which probably very rash action, because the Queen of Wands is very stubborn, shall we say. She really knows what she wants to do, and in this case it could be doing things that are very negative and probably also not well thought out, as we saw with the other cards that we got before this. So this very much looks like almost like a mental episode. I don't know if she had any issues with mental health. I don't recall seeing anything about that. So in that case, it might just be that she really got stuck in a certain train of thought that had her barreling down this one track, so to speak, all the way till the end. So I think that that was what caused it. Like I said, I don't really see too many other people here pushing things, and I think it's mostly her own thoughts leading her to this end, unfortunately. So that's what I'm seeing for Rylan. Hope you found that interesting. If you like the channel, make sure to give a like or leave a comment. Both of them help the channel along. If you want to see readings on other people, make sure to suggest that in the comment section as well, so I can put them on the list. In any case, thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.